The closer I get to 50 years old, half a century, the more I am doing this, just this refresh of my mind and my body, not just because I want to lose weight, but because when God created me and blessed me with my one life, I had a responsibility to be a good steward over this life, over this body, with His help, with His guidance, within the parameters of His will for mankind and my purpose that He has given me specifically. And when I reminisce on how I've battled with obesity and how there were times that I conquered it. I mean, I'm talking the long term. I told you that at one point I kept that 60 pounds off for more than 10 years. More than 10 years. I am still in shock that for the past several years I've been back again just battling. And of course, the other factors have made it difficult. The aging and all those other things, the perimenopause, have made it extremely difficult. But I'm realizing, and that's why I'm not gonna be able to rush this. I'm not going to be on even my own timetable the way I was in the past, or for an event. For example, my birthday is coming up February 1st, yes, but that can't be my priority, because then what? What after that? But I'm looking back at how people 30, 40, 50, 60, whatever your age, and you're still here. It's time for us to really count that a blessing and recognize that this is one life that we have, just one. And people don't value life anymore. People don't value life. That's why they can unalive each other without a thought. That is why family can set up their own family members for land and house, and right? But then I said, we have a responsibility. I have a responsibility for Georgia to steward my life, my mind, my body, my soul, right? Oh my goodness. And so I encourage you, if you have not been taking care of your body, if you have not been a good steward of your life, start looking at it as a blessing that you're here with this one life. It's not because you're more special than all these other people who their number has already been called. It's a blessing and an opportunity that you have been given to do better with this one life. So that is where I am. And that is what helps to fuel me. I've got to do better. I've got to do better. I've got to be a better steward over my life. And I don't know what that would mean for you. What is the implication of that for you? For me, it's food addiction. And I know that it probably doesn't sound good, or somebody might think I'm being dramatic, because how can I be a food addict if 3 different times and at one point for years I was able to just live a lifestyle of mindfulness with what I was eating and moving my body and taking care of my temple. Well, if there is a lack of discipline, a lack of self-control that continues to go back to this state of obesity, then I have to admit that whether I want to call it addiction, whether I want to call it lack of discipline or lack of self-control, it doesn't matter. That's important is that there's a problem. I don't care what the label is. There is a problem. And I believe in being real with me. That's why I have to be real with other people, because I'm going to be real with myself. And so, what is it that you need to do better to be a better steward of this life, this one life that you have been given? For me, as my memoir is entitled, Becoming 50, and learning how to breathe, learning how not to just be the strong person all the time, just learning to rest in God. And I have always rested in God. That's why I still have peace and always have joy, no matter what. That's why I always bounce back from every circumstance, because my hope is in the Lord. But I can admit that there have been many times when I have suffered mentally, emotionally, when I didn't need to. So learning to breathe, controlling, taking back my control and my discipline, so that I can, not for 10 years, but for whatever number of years I have left, so that I can be a good steward as best as I can be, because some things are not in our control. I'm well aware of that. I'm talking about things, obviously, that are within our control, within my control. But yeah, I'm just super grateful. But I keep on looking back at the fact that, so for nearly 50 years, I was blessed with this life. And I've got to protect it even more. All parts of it. What say ye?